Okay, recording started. We're really close. Wait another minute. Okay, I'll just confirm that Vika, you'll be sharing the screen for the slides. Is that correct?
Hi, everyone. Yep, for sure, as usual.
Okay, thank you so much. We welcome our presenters today, Ashki and Marwa. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for the great preparation to present to us, let alone the actual content of discussion, which is our new brand. And for me, this is the fun stuff. So I really hope that getting organized behind a consistent brand element is going to be helpful, not only for you to see this tournament ecosystem as a progression, but also your potential commercial partners and fans of Phygital and Phygital competitors. Let me, yeah, with that, I officially welcome you to our 12th workshop. I'm very proud of the work that our business development team with WPC has done to make these workshops a really reliable activity, a reliable series of events month to month. I have talked with colleagues from other games related organizations. They know what we're doing. They've been to our website and had a look at how prolific our group, our committee, how prolific we are, especially at the beginnings. It's I take great pride in being involved in this organization and with all of you committee members that are already organizing tournaments. And now we take another bigger step that I think extends our cachet in the world and launch this new branding of our tournament ecosystem. So the agenda today, I guess Vika, if you want to now share screen, we'll go to the slides themselves. I'll keep speaking through the agenda. We will first look at the new tournament structure, an overview of the new tournament system. We will view the brand guidelines for visual identity and design elements. We will talk about how we communicate the tournament names for website copy, any digital media or marketing materials, and even physical print. The social media toolkit, we'll talk about that.
راح تجي ما راح يعني البصمه بس للمعلوميه.
Hi, someone, you have your microphone on. I don't think you intend to. Thank you. And we'll talk about the social media toolkit and walk through the templates, editable files where you can find them, the ranking points, how using all of this content improves your ranking or incentive points. And then finally, we'll, as usual, hold a Q&A for closing remarks. As usual, as our presenters are engaged, please hold questions if you can to the very end of the Q&A, and let's make sure these questions are related only to Workshop 12. And with that, I'd like to introduce to you Ashki Taylor, and he's going to begin with the new tournament structure. Ashki.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
It's all
Appreciate
yours.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Victoria, could you go to just the slide after the agenda for me, please? So just a reminder before we get into this, you will remember that you get ranking points for using the new WPC tournament branding. And this slide highlights all the different points that you can get, both at the Official Origins and Official Rivals tournament stages. We will come back to this slide at the end and talk about how you prove that and what is the criteria for actually getting the points, because we've done a lot of work. So it's worth sticking with us when we go through it, so you can get an idea of exactly what you will need to do to get the ranking points. Next slide, please, Victoria. So as in the last seminar, in the last workshop, there was reference to these new names, but there wasn't any kind of detail given to them. So just very quickly want to talk through that. So we built a new kind of unified 3-tier naming strategy. And each of them is obviously, as you can see, a clear separate stage, and it's created to avoid generic sports terms and to create something that we can own as an organization and you can use on a local level. And as I said, it's very clear. And if you just want to kind of talk through these slides, these stages. So the Official Origins is what was called Golf Minors. Official Rivals is what was the golf majors as of last season, and then Official Contenders is what was called golf qualifiers previously. But now you will see that this is and you'll hear even at the World Official Summit next week, people talking in this language because we are now using this language from today. So that just kind of gives you a top line in terms of the names and how they relate to what was described earlier. And I'll now hand over to Marwa to start taking you through the brand guidelines that are related to these new names.
Hello, everybody. Now we're going to take a look on the brand. Why it's important to know the brand even from all levels. So for you, as WPC members, you care more about the origins and the rivals, but we want to as well explain to you the full story because you're part of a bigger journey towards the ultimate games and games of the future. So if you look at the logo itself and how these separate logos for each level has been developed and inspired from, they're part of the white space from the Games of the Future flame, just to show you how integrated your part is within the ultimate games for Games of the Future. We look at it as 3 tiers. So we start from the local level, which is the origins, then we go to nationals when it comes to the rivals, and when it's fully complete, it is the contenders, and these go eventually up to the ultimate games with Games of the Future. So if we look at the next slide, we will start seeing how we present this brand in different elements, starting with fonts for all our work. And we need to ensure the consistency because how we represent the movement needs to have the same look across all members, across all our communication as well. So we want to make sure that we have this alignment. So our main font for headings is Phygital, our body as well font is TT Autonomous. We're letting you know now, and this maybe leads as well to the next following slides, the top line directions when it comes to guidelines. But as we go through, the doc will refer you back to where you're going to find all these in details for your marketing and creative teams to get the tools they need to work with the brand. So you'll start seeing with origins, it's level 1. So only one block is highlighted, and you see the color that leads with that. And going to the next slide, we will see as well how the rivals have a different color, and now it fills up more of the elements of the logo. And lastly, with contenders, which is going to be managed by PI, because we want you to understand how that ranks up in the following slides. In the following slide, you can see how that leads there. So now it's complete. So we're taking as well through the events, everybody, participants, us, and the community through different levels and tiers. You will start noticing that different colors represent different levels. And that leads us nicely to the next slide, which is why this color change, because we look at it as gradient. Each color represents a level. So with the electric purple, we're talking about origins. With the intense purple, we're talking about tribals. And lastly, with energy purple, we cover the contenders, and that's under PI. But it's that graduity of colors as the intensity of the game, of the excitement that we want to involve everybody with within the phygital movement, and how we lead it up nicely to the ultimate games towards end of the year and every year. And from there, I think we will go directly to how you write the names when it comes to games of the future with Ashki. Oh, sorry. So when it comes to the location as well, it's not just about the logo and how we place it. We understand we have different countries and we have different cities. So here we have placed the logo in a way that allows you to have that difference and show that allocation for your games, but at the same time follow the guidelines. So phygital rivals or phygital origins will always be the same, and then you add the name of the city and or the country depending on the games, and after that what disciplines you cover. You will see those as top line directions. We have everything detailed within the guideline for your creative team to understand how to apply those, but that ensures the consistency of the look. So in your different creative elements, you're able to showcase that, in addition to whoever is seeing different communications from different tournament levels for games of the future and for WPC, they're aware of how to utilize that and what this tournament is about and in what city it's being run.
And then we come to actually how you write that. So basically with the element that Marwa has just gone through, that's shown you how to visually talk about or include either a city or a country in it, and how you can write the different disciplines. But obviously when you're writing that in copy, whether that's on a website or something, we have to do something different. So again, we have created a very simple structure to help you do that. So you will see as examples here at that top how you would write, for example, Phygital Origins, which is the regional tournaments. So if that's in a particular city, so it'd always be the name of the tournament. Apologies, I didn't have my camera on. It would be the name of the tournament, and then a colon, then the name of the city, and then a hyphen, and then the name of the discipline. So Phygital Origins, semicolon, Sao Paulo hyphen football, for example. And then when it's rivals, exactly the same format, but country rather than the city. And then for contenders, which obviously is not a WPC event, but it's a PI event. But again, you can see how it would potentially exist, and that's again as an example there. Now, if you are then talking about you are hosting 2 or 3 events, then, or sorry, disciplines within a single event, we have created a way which you can see in that scenario 1 of how you do that. So you don't have to keep saying phygital. So you just go Phygital Origins, the city or the country, hyphen, and then just comma for each of the disciplines that are involved, but you don't have to say phygital in this scenario alone. There is also an opportunity or an option to basically use those shortcodes that you saw on the previous section. So for example, if it was in London, you would go Phygital Origins colon LDN for London hyphen, and then the names of the disciplines, for example. Now, this is all important because actually you need to use this way of writing the tournament names when you are registering your tournaments for this new season on the WPC Plus platform. So please use this as your template to when you are filling in your applications. And just one final thing, which is around that word phygital. As I said, we've removed it in this particular situation. However, phygital is always meant to be used when writing about a discipline and it's not attached to a tournament name. So if you write a sentence about phygital football, phygital football is a combination of physical and esports, for example. As a sentence, you're writing that, it would always be phygital football. It would never just be football. I hope that is clear. We can come back to this afterwards if there are any questions. Then back to Marwa.
Now to the social media toolkit. So whatever we mentioned from the beginning of the presentation is the guidelines and base, but as well we want to support you and provide you with basics and elements that will help you speed up the process, especially for your marketing team and creative team who are working on social content. So I'm going to go through assets that are provided by us. Right now we're showing you just samples. Everything will be uploaded to the WPC members website, so you'll have access to it. But let me explain to you what will be provided and some guidelines that you need to consider, which are displayed as well on the screen. So we'll provide you with social media covers. So whenever you're running any tournament, you need to use them. We'll provide them in different formats, as well as profile pictures, so you can upload that. And if we go to the next slide, you will see as well for Instagram specifically, we've created as well highlight section covers. So whenever you're running a tournament, you are able to add story highlights covering all the games, all the moments, reshares from your audiences under these highlight sections that are branded. So they directly connect whatever in the section with your digital tournament level that you're working on. And if we go to the next slide, we start seeing more of the social media content. This is these are morph templates that you can utilize. Nonetheless, your teams can create more designs based on the guideline, but as well, we wanted to give you as much as possible. Social can be very heavy within the events dates, so we want you to have as much support from our end as possible. But if you want to create more, you need just to make sure that you're following the guidelines, and these are good references for you to pick from and align with whenever you need to create something different. So you'll see here that there are different design elements, statics, you'll see some results, some announcements, some text heavy, some picture or image led, just to give you variety so you can use and utilize them as you want. And if we go to the next slide, we've created as well specific formats, templates for stories, just so you can use them for your story section and then upload them as highlights, because these tend to be the quick updates that you can use to update your audiences on changes, on results, on anything that you want to communicate with them quickly and get top visibility on Instagram. So if we go to the next slide, we will see as well that we're providing you with intros and outros. This is the sample for the origins. You will see it, we're providing you with that in square and vertical. In the next slide as well, you'll see how that applies for rivals. The whole idea that we want to give you flexibility. We call it intro and outro because we want whoever is working from your end on creative edits for videos to decide the best position for this clip. For example, if you want to introduce your games, it makes sense to put it in the beginning. So you show the logo and then you explain it in the following frames. But sometimes you have a recap where there is a lot of good footage from your audiences, different like gamers or sport players having very nice facial interactions. You want to start with that and leave this as the outro. So there is flexibility in how your teams can use it when creating assets. But the most important things we need to know that it must be included in every video and animation asset as an element. Where you set it, we'll leave it to you and your teams to decide how it fits best. And next, I think we'll talk about that everything that we mentioned right now, from the guideline that we showed you a snippet from the assets that you will have as templates and so on and so forth. All of this will be uploaded on the WPC website under the marketing materials, so you'll have access to that, and you'll be able to, with your marketing teams and social media teams, to develop content and use it whenever you're running a tournament. And I think with that, we're needing you next to Ashley.
Okay, so this is where we come back to the beginning, where we showed you the slide that highlighted where you receive ranking points for following the brand guidelines, and the details that we've just taken you through, and as Marwa said, are on the WPC website in the members area. So if you go to the next slide, what we have also put in the WPC members area, website area, and it's also on the WPC Plus platform, is a document that outlines exactly what you need to do to earn the points. the ranking points for each of the areas. So we've broken it down by what you need to do when you're referring to tournament names and using the WPC name. We've also talked about the options that you have in terms of branding when you're running your events at tournaments, your tournaments at a venue, excuse me, as well as what you need to do in various ways on social media. And also if there is broadcasting, because you may remember there's some options for points that are related to live broadcasts. And again, what the branding should include on that. There are various ways that you can do it. So it's not about doing everything. And you will see in the document that it explains very clearly. There's a list of things that you can choose from, and you have to do a certain minimum of them. As long as you've met the minimum, then you will, and it meets the branding requirements, then you will get the points. But obviously you can do more than just those minimums. So the document highlights those branding requirements, and yeah, please, thank you. As well as then, as I said, what you need to do to get the ranking points. And then finally, there's a document that's basically a template for you to provide all the proof after your tournament and the reporting of that. So you basically explain what you've done, and then you provide photos, etc. on top of that. So that is all of the details about that document. And again, we can go into that a bit more detail. But I will now hand back to Dan to lead any Q&A.
There you go. Thank you to both of you. I'm prepared to take quite a few questions about this. I hope it's been useful so far. I imagine it'll get easier once you start using the WPC Plus and start using the naming convention, getting used to that, getting access to the files. I don't see any hands raised, and I'm not seeing anything in the chat. While we wait to see if anyone wants to formulate a question, I just want to emphasize the point that everything we're talking about today applies only to these tournaments and has no impact on the overall WPC branding that you've seen and have been using so far. So again, this is the branding for the tournaments. As you use in the tournaments, it does not change the WPC brand or the reason the reason to use the WPC brand. No questions. Okay. I won't cut off Ashki and Marwa just yet. As you've rolled out this new branding scheme, tell us, what were some of the main considerations in making this choice? You recall that we talked a lot. There were a few different angles and examples, but what were the main considerations in choosing this particular iteration of the various ideas that we had for branding? What rose to the surface as important in making these choices? And maybe it would help if we hear that. It might even help our members understand where we wanted to place emphasis in making these choices, and they can help us by continuing that emphasis.
So when we talk about the general look and feel, as mentioned earlier, maybe lightly, that we made sure it's integrated element, like it's an element that completes the games of the future, because we're not just talking about the games as like the games of the future, games as the ultimate games. Everything leading up to that is crucial. It's what builds the digital community. It's the role of the WPC members in creating this movement. So how we had it as an integral part of our, like, it links nicely. It's like two puzzle pieces linking together, and as well how they level up. So it's like a battery. You see it from the let's say the most basic level to the closest level to the ultimate games. This is kind of the feeling we want to give everybody, and as well how it rise with anticipation and rise with the kind of lead up to the big games. And that just shows how important the WPC member role is within building the movement and as well leading up to the games. We considered as well that this branding should be very simple for everybody to click. So from a visual element, we want it to be as straightforward as something that you can click, and from one look, you know which level you are on. It's a journey that we need to make sure with branding we're getting there as we use the guidelines in the right way, so everybody recognizes how the brand looks like and knows it from the first moment, especially that we're building a new community that's really looking for the right help and space to be nurtured. That's one side of it. The other side, and how we developed everything, we wanted to make sure it's very dynamic, very energetic. Colors are very vibrant, because it literally talks about everything that we're encompassing. When we talk about phygital, it's very interesting. This is one of the things you'll have a father or maybe a grandfather and a grandkid connecting on, because the grandkid might be on the gaming side and the grandfather on the football, basketball side, but they connect. We have various dynamics, audiences we want to make sure our content and our branding is connecting with. And we want to empower whoever is running tournaments and games from you guys to be able to encompass this branding and feel supported with a strong visual brand that tells the story you have in mind.
Thank you. I remember that one of the areas of discussion was how much we wanted to distinguish WPC organized tournaments from the games of the future. We wanted also to be distinctive enough between the different levels of the tournament and the ecosystem, between the rivals and the origins and the rivals, right? And I think that this progressive brand does that. But in the end, I think that what we have is something that's much more integrative, or the progression is much more evident to me towards games of the future than it is to distinguish it or make it separate. And so that leads to this question from Edgar. He says in the chat, should we use WPC in conjunction with the tournament level example? Plus, like, for example, Phygital Origins. Do we have a lock between the WPC and, say, the Phygital Origins logo, or does the WPC logo not feature anymore in our branding? Ashki.
I can answer this one.
Yes.
Thank you, Edgar, for your question. And this is where the brand guideline that you will find within the resources will be really helpful. We don't just show you how you connect the logo of the new kind of tournament logo lookups with WPC, but as well, for example, if you have partners within the event, how you make sure that you are integrating their logos in a way that is consistent and it's going to be used by all members. So all of these details are within the detailed guidelines that are provided for you to support whoever is working from the creative end on your side to be able to do that with consistency.
But the top line answer is you still use both.
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, we planned an hour. We were able to cover the material in 30 minutes. I asked our guests to be ready to be here for 90 minutes. So you guys take 60 on me.
What I also would say just is that if there were, obviously, we know that you will want to look at all the materials that are on WPC members area. If you do have any follow-up questions, then please use the usual email address, which is thepress@worldphygital.org, and we will come back to you to answer your questions. So it doesn't mean that you're now left on your own. If there are any questions that you have about any element of the new branding, then please get in contact. We are here to support. We can help answer any questions and provide additional guidance if it is needed. So this isn't kind of just a drop and run. This is, oh, Franklin, you got your hand up.
Yeah. Franklin, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Turn your
hello,
mic on.
hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello, Ashki. Hello, Dan. Hello, Mara. Just a quick question. In what formats are we going to be receiving the social media elements and all the branding elements that will be put in the membership part of the website? Because from my experience from last time, the overlays that we had were pictures, they were JPEG files. So it was a little bit tricky to use them because you might have to put them back in maybe some kind of a photo editing software like Adobe Photoshop or something so that you can make it to be interactive. So I just want to bring that up like some kind of concern on my part to say if we are going to have files like files that are ready to be used in such a way that they can just be overlaid on a video without necessarily having to go back to edit them in another software before we can use them. I don't know how that works, but I think if we have it like that, it's going to save a lot of time and trouble. Thank you.
Thanks, Franklin, for your questions. So when it comes to that, first of all, you receive everything with an open source. For example, logos. When it comes to logos, patterns, and so on, you'll always have them with an Illustrator file. When it comes to templates, we provide them as well Figma files. So you have templates that you can embed text on, you can change backgrounds, images, and so on. So you have flexibility fully. And these as well, you can, at the end of the day, integrate into whatever video editor you can use eventually. If you have a specific format that you're facing any challenge with, this is where we might need you to communicate with us, explaining to us exactly which format is challenging, so on and so forth, that we can support you with. But any, for example, template that's already created just as a reference as well has been saved as GPG. So it helps the team just navigate and see how they look at them. But all files or elements have the open files for you to be able to use them, play with them as you need for your work.
Okay, well that's great to keep them in some of those files in Illustrator. But I think for most of us that may not want to open Illustrator to modify, will you at least include the vector file of PNG with transparent background?
We can look into that. I think we've provided the logos. We'll look into any format that's mentioned right now, and we'll cross-check with the team that if it's not there to be added for sure. But I think with the logos, everything is comprehensive. Yeah.
All right. I think many of us would find it easiest to probably easiest and more ready-made vector file would be PNG with a transparent background. For me, and I think for a lot of us, that's ready to go. That would be helpful.
Yeah, but that's well noted. Checking now as well to confirm.
Okay. Yeah.
So that, and obviously that will work with logos and the backgrounds, etc. But with the ready-made templates, those will need, obviously they are completely editable, and but they obviously are in other formats. You can't do that as a PNG because of all the different elements. So it just depends on which parts we're talking about. But Mara and team will come back in terms of that, which bits we can do as PNG.
Okay, thank you. Great. Thank you very much for that question. Anything else? All right. I'll wrap up. Thank you once again. This meeting, its presentation and the recording of the meeting will be posted on the WPC website probably within the next few hours. Please, if you have questions, to make sure you are aware that we have an entire library of these workshops, all of them with the presentation, and I think all but one has a meeting recording as well, in case you wanted to hear the questions and answers. It's a great resource. Really excited to see everybody that's joining us in Dubai. It'll be a great meeting, a great reunion for us since Istanbul. I'll be taking the stage often to moderate a lot of conversation between some of you who will be speaking, standing and asking questions or presenting, but also with some invited experts from esport and traditional sport world that are going to be commenting on the digital future and its place in the world. And so there's going to be some compelling conversation there as well. And I hope you'll be joining us either in person or streaming or online somehow. It'll be great to see you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks again to Mara and Ashki for presenting today, to Vika for leading the organizing of this actual meeting, and everybody else that's been involved in organizing content and communicating to you to be able to join us. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.